What's up, everybody, and welcome to my Foundations set review. I'm super stoked to be able to do this. I'm a little late to the game. I know you've probably seen some other people already post their Foundation set review. We're going to approach this a little different. As some of you may or may not know, I'm new to the competitive scene of Magic, having started in the summer of 2024. I've been playing Magic off and on for the last, well, off and on since the 90s, really. But I haven't taken it seriously until the last year. So some of these cards may be reprints. I'm not going to know. A lot of the reprints, some of them I might recognize. But we're going to go through each and every color. This video is all about the plains or the white cards. We're going to go through them in ascending order from CMC to rarity. So at the end, we'll have the most expensive, rarest card in white. And so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the set review and take a look. We're also going to treat this as a bit of a first impressions for me as well, because like I said, some of these cards I've seen and I might know that are a reprint. Like Healer's Hawk, I'm pretty sure is a reprint, but I haven't been around. I'm not an OG, right? When it comes to this. So we're just going to take a look at each one of the cards as it is sort of relevant to draft, and that's kind of the concept we're going to have in our mind is like, how does this relate to draft? Is this a good card for draft? And again, this is my opinion, which is far from a professional opinion. The farthest that we made it was Plat 4 in our Bronze to Mythic run, and we got hard stuck there for like 17 drafts. So keep all that in mind. This is mostly for entertainment purposes as well as education purposes. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First up, we have Healer's Hawk. So Healer's Hawk is a 1 white creature bird for 1/1 with flying and lifelink. This is, I would say, pretty solid. My rankings are kind of maybe different than some of the other rankings. I kind of equate the power and toughness as it relates to the CMC. And then we take a look secondarily at keywords as well as synergies that you can do with the card. So being this is a 1/1 for 1 and has flying and lifelink, so 2 additional keywords, I would actually put this as probably like a B-. We start at C if it's a 1 CMC with a 1/1. And then anything more than that, we're going to do a little bit better grade. Anything less than that, it's probably going to go down a little bit. So for me, this would probably be a strong B- card. It's definitely something I would want to draft in a bird deck, flying deck, as well as any lifelink deck. Next up is Fleeting Flight, a 1 white instant. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to it this turn. So a nice little prevent all damage, as well as give it a 1/1 counter and flying. So pretty sweet little combat trick in my opinion. I would definitely rate this probably again in like the B-, C+ territory. Really playable card. It could probably even go as high as a B, where combat tricks as far as value in draft are always interesting. I always like to draft a couple combat tricks if possible. And this is definitely going to be a good one to draft. Low cost, gives you a 1/1 counter on it. This is a 1/1 counter stay. Actually, no, the 1/1 counter stays. Yeah, this is definitely a solid B for me. I would put, because it keeps it and it has flying until end of turn and it prevents combat damage. I would say that's a pretty solid like B- combat trick. Next up is Cathar Commando, 1 colorless, 1 white creature human soldier. It's a 3/1. So already, it's right there. Solid stats on it. It has flash, so great keyword. You can flash in a 3/1, so it's punching above its weight class. And then you can pay 1, sacrifice this creature, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So definitely some really interesting things that you could do. Flash it in, sack it, and then get rid of the opposing character. We got Discord popping off on me. Okay, got rid of that. So definitely some things that you can do. I find it pretty interesting. I would rate this card probably like a C+, B- territory. Removal for 3 So the card by itself with Flash 3/1, I would say is like a C+. to B minus territory. Flash is just super strong, and it punches above its weight class, so you can, swing it in, take out something with a 3 toughness. But the fact that you could also just sack it and destroy an artifact or enchantment is a nice little benefit. So I would put it, probably like that C plus B minus territory as well. Heir Apparent. This card is crazy. I've seen some like combos people have already put together on Twitter with this one. So this is a 1 colorless, 1 white creature, rabbit noble 2/2 for 2. So already solid card. When this creature enters, create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to the number of other creatures you control named Heir Apparent. A deck can have any number of cards named Heir Apparent. So this is like the Templar Knights situation over again. So just this would be great in Commander. Put like 30 of these in a deck and have some fun. As far as drafting, if you can get a few of these, this definitely could start to become interesting. It is at common level, so you could see multiple of these while drafting. So it's interesting. So even if you had 2 and you played this, you would create 2 more 1/1 rabbit creature tokens. So I would definitely rate this pretty highly. I would put this as a B minus to a B if you can get multiple. So you do need a synergy. So I'd put like a B minus B with synergy by itself. It's like a C. Helpful Hunter. It's a 1 colorless, 1 white creature cat. When this enters, draw a card. Solid. You're essentially paying 1 to draw a card. I would definitely put it up there in the B minus territory. Maybe C plus in the lower end, but pay 2 for a 1/1 and get to draw a card. It's not bad. Make your move. 2 colorless and a white. It's an instant. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. This is really similar to the Duskmourn card Exercise, except more expensive. Because I think Exercise... Well, this is an instant, to be fair. So that is worth pointing out. So it is 1 colorless more expensive than Exercise, but it has that instant effect on it. So because it's instant, it's pretty good, but it's still kind of expensive. So the Exercise is a sorcery that can do that, but being able to flash this in, I would say in draft, I would say pretty solid. Let's go with C minus, or not C minus, B minus on this. I do like the fact that it can do bigger creatures, take out some artifacts, enchantments. There is some definitely larger creatures in this game or in this draft. So this draft version. So there's definitely some things you can do, and some enchantments that can get pretty scary as well. So if you're looking for a removal spell, this is decent. So yeah, I would say in that B minus territory for removal as well. It is a little expensive though. Inspiring Paladin, 2 colorless, 1 white creature, human knight during for a 3/3. So already baseline, pretty good. 3/3 for 3. During your turn, this creature has first strike. Love first strike. During your turn, creatures you control with 1/1 counters on them have first strike as well. So definitely a solid card. I would say above average as far as what we can do with it. During your turn, you're swinging, and it's a 3/3 for 3 with first strike. Already puts it kind of in like a C plus territory. And then any other, so if you're creating a counters deck, so I think like green is pretty good at counters. I think red can do some 1/1 counters as well. But if you have some counters on stuff, they also have first strike. So I would definitely put it in that C plus B minus territory. So far so good. Some good choices. So this is a 3 for a 2/3 flying. When another creature you control enters, you gain a life. So it's going to be at like a C minus, just for the fact that it's a 2/3 for 3. Add flying might bring it back up to a C, and then the gaining the life. So I would say a solid C. Maybe you could make an argument in like a life gain deck. So if you found some synergy to put it up to a C plus, but this would probably be about a C. Vanishing Light. This has always been a great card. When this enchantment enters, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. The only downside about Banishing Light in general is that it's if this is removed, that exiled creature comes back, and there's definitely ways to remove enchantments. I like straight up exile removal if you're going to use exile removal. So, but all in all, in a draft sense, this is a solid removal. It's a non-land permanent, so any permanent on the battlefield you can get rid of. So I would say nice and strong in that B territory for Banishing Light. Prideful Parents. So we're still in the commons. Is a 2 colorless, 1 white creature cat, 2/2. It has vigilance. Okay. So it's giving some keywords here that are trying to get us out of C-. And when this creature enters, create a 1/1 white creature token. So really, this is a 3/3 for 3, and then vigilance. So this looks awful lot like Mufasa and what is I forget. Pumbaa? No, Timon and Pumbaa. Simba. There you go. From Lion King, doesn't it? So all that to be said, I would say this is probably like a C plus card. The fact that it does give you a creature token is nice, so it's more bodies on the board, more things to swing with. So I would say pretty solidly like a C plus. Vanguard Seraph, 3 colorless, 1 white, creature, angel, warrior, 3/3. So it's a 3/3 for 4. Add flying. Okay. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, Surveil. So Surveil is nice if you're trying to maybe get stuff into the graveyard. Think like a white-black deck, trying to recur things. But I think it's a little bit too far behind at the 4 cost with flying. So it's probably about a C. For me, C plus. You could make an argument if you had the right synergies there. Next up is Squad Rallier. Can't talk. Squad Rallier. It's a 3 colorless, 1 white creature human scout that is a 3/4. Look at I could pay 2 colorless, 1 white. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with power 2 or less from among them, and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So pretty solid. It's almost a 4/4 for 4. Plus it gives you this card cycling without a tap feature. So I would put that up there as like a C plus, maybe B minus, especially if you're sort of in a go wide deck. Maybe think like a red white deck that's going wide with weaker creatures. This would be an opportunity to go search for those creatures and get them on to the board. Felidar Savior. Is 3 colorless, 1 white creature cat beast 2/3. Okay, it's a little bit behind. It does have lifelink right out of the box, and then when this creature enters, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures you control. So really, it's coming onto the table with like a 4/5 power, and then it has its own lifelink. You do have to put the counters, and they are counters, so it's not till end of turn. They are counters, so that will go. I think push it up in the bracket here. So it's really coming in as like a 4/5 for 4. So I would put that up there probably in like the C plus B minus territory. Probably pretty solidly B minus, especially we've already seen some cards that if something has a 1/1 counter on it, it gets additional benefits. So I'm pretty comfortable saying like C plus to B minus if you have the right synergies. Luminous Rebuke. 4 colorless, 1 white, instant. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature, destroy. It's solid. It's really solid. I would say B, easy B for us. It's most of the time you're going to be paying this at 1 colorless, 1 white. So 2 CMC for destroy target creature. I would definitely grab that. Maybe even push it up to a B plus. Really solid removal. Armasar Guide. 4 colorless, 1 white creature dinosaur. It has vigilance. Well, let's back up. Creature dinosaur. That's a 4/4. So it's a 4/4 for 5, but it has vigilance. And when you attack with 3 or more creatures, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So if you are attacking with 3 or more, you get to put a counter on something. So this can scale pretty quick. I would say on its own, if you can't get any synergies on it, it's probably like a C plus to C. But if you can get some synergies with a nice little go wide board, then this all of a sudden becomes a lot more valuable, and you can definitely see this as high as maybe like a B minus with synergies would be a really sweet card here. So that is the last of our commons, and so again we are reviewing the boosters. So what you will be getting in the if you go to draft, if you go to a sealed event, you will see these cards in there. So this is what we're reviewing right now. So moving on to the uncommon slots. So Joust Through is 1 white instant. Joust Through deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. You gain a life. So it's a lot like Elspeth's Smite that's out right now. Does 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, but you also gain a life. So I would definitely say a strong B to B plus. You're going to see this in Constructed. This is a solid removal card, especially in any white decks that might be out there. It's a nice little removal. It'd be good against a lot of times like the red aggro decks that are going. So yeah, you'll see it from time to time, even in Constructed. Divine Resilience, 1 white. Instant. It has a kicker cost of 2 colorless, 1 white. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, instead, any number of target creatures you control gain indestructible. So you could really spend 2 colorless, 2 white, so 4 CMC, and you could give your entire board indestructible. It's pretty solid little combat trick. I would definitely rate this as like a B minus if you're saving like 1 creature, but if you can save multiple, it's an easy B plus for the draft there. Savannah Lions, it's just a 2/1 for 1. Easy filler, easy grab if you need a body. One white for a 2/1. I'd take it. Resolute Reinforcements. We already know about this card. This is kind of already in standard. Yeah, I think it's still in standard. I don't think it fell out for any reason. But yeah, it's a flash. It's a 1 colorless, 1 white creature human soldier for 1/1, but it has flash. And when this creature enters, create a 1/1 white creature token. So essentially, you can flash it in at somebody's end step to be able to swing. You can flash them in for blockers, flash them in for a wide board state. Like, there's a bunch of reasons you can flash this in. So this is a really solid card. I would definitely throw it up there as a like a B minus B. You're going to see this in Constructed play. We're already seeing it in Constructed play. Youthful Valkyrie is 1 colorless, 1 white creature angel, 1/3 with flying. So already above average. So we're looking at like a C plus just because the 1/3. It's good body in the air, good blocker, and flying. And whenever another angel you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on this creature, and you get counters. I would definitely say easy B minus, maybe up to B plus with right synergies. If you get a good angel draft, that you could see this being a good B plus in there. Sunblessed Healer, 1 colorless, 1 white creature human cleric. It's got a kicker cost for 3/1, so it's punching above its weight class here. Kicker, 1 colorless, 1 white, lifelink. And then when this creature enters, if it was kicked, return target non-land permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And graveyard recursion, that's really solid. So you can flash it in, you can gain 3 life, take out something above its weight class. So it's essentially a combat trick or removal. And then you can do some really interesting things, pulling stuff out of the graveyard. So for 2 colorless, 2 white, so 4 mana total, you're pulling out another card and onto the battlefield even. This is a B plus, even maybe A minus territory for me. This is a really solid card. I would definitely snag this in any white deck. Oh, went a little too fast. Ajani's Pridemate, 1 colorless, 1 white creature cat soldier for 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter. So it's again counter, solid. I really like this card. If you have some good synergies, this could be B plus, A minus territory. But on its own, it's a 2/2 for 2. That's a solid card. So like B minus territory. But with synergies, you can get up to a B plus very easy. Mischievous Pup is a 2 colorless, 1 white. That reminds me of that that Mexican dog breed. I can't. They're like naked. They don't have any real hair. But the Mischievous Pup, 2 colorless, 2 white. It's a creature dog, 3/1 flash. Love flash on a 3/1. When this enters, return up to 1 other target permanent you control to the owner's hand. So you could flash this in, pull a blocker. So maybe they had a 7/7 without trample or something. You put a 1/1 in front of it, but you want to keep that 1/1 alive. Or you have a ETB effect on a creature. Like you could flash this in, or declare blockers, flash this in, pull that card out, and then you save that card. Still had the blocker in place. You didn't take any damage, and then you could do like an ETB, right? So solid card. For 3 CMC, I'll probably put this at a B. I would definitely grab this in a white deck that I would be drafting. Next up is the Dauntless Veteran. 1 colorless, 2 white. Creature, human, soldier, 2/2. Whenever this creature attacks, creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. Synergistically, B plus on its own. Whenever this creature attacks creatures you control. So this includes itself. It's really a 3/3 for 3 whenever it attacks. So I would say like C plus, B minus on its own, up to a B plus if you have some good synergies. Like go wide board. Twin Blade Blessing, 1 colorless, 2 white enchantment aura. It has flash and enchant creature. Enchanted creature has double strike. Fun little combat trick. It's a little expensive, but you can declare a creature that seems as a non-threat, and then as it goes through, flash this onto them, and now it's doing double strike, literally giving the person twice as much as what they bargained for. So I like it as a combat trick, solid combat trick. I would put it in that B minus territory. If you have some really interesting ways to get through without being blocked, so flying creatures, this creature can't be blocked, things like that, it could definitely get really interesting and be more of a solid B. Cat Collector is a 2 colorless, 1 white creature, human, citizen. It's a 3/2. When this creature enters, create a food token. Nice. And whenever you gain life for the first time during each of your turns, create a 1/1 cat creature token. So again, life gain deck, you get some synergies going. You're just turning out cats. You gotta love cats. Or just turning out cats. I'm a Boros player in Modern, so love my cats. I'm the crazy cat lady, just throwing cats at everybody. So all that to be said, I would say pretty solid, especially if you can get synergies. This can be a B plus territory on its own. We're probably in that B minus territory. It can generate its own food and then thus gaining life. So when you sacrifice it, you gain 3 life, and then create a cat. So it's really like a 5 mana 4/3. So just on its own, but if you can get some additional life gain each turn or consistent life gain, you could see it higher on the rating. But yeah, I'd say like C plus, B minus on its own. It could be a B or B plus if you have some good life gain synergies. Stroke of Midnight, 2 colorless, 1 white, instant, destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white creature human or white human creature token. So I'm never a fan of giving my opponent anything in exchange. So it is a weaker removal. It's a little expensive. 2 colorless, 1 white. There's another, we just saw another instant that was 2 colorless, 1 white, and it would destroy non-land permanent as well. So, it was artifact, enchantment, or creature with power and toughness 4 over, and it didn't give him anything, and you gained life. So this would be a little bit lower. It's still a decent removal, but I would probably put it at like a C. I'd say it's just worth its value. Angel of Finality, 3 colorless, 1 white creature angel, 3/4, flying. When this creature enters, exile target player's graveyard. That is great for graveyard hate. 3/4, and it has flying. I would say on its own, C plus, B minus, easy. Claws Out, 3 colorless, 2 white, instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each cat you control. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. So this could essentially, if you got a nice little cat synergy deck going on, you could see this being cast for just 2 white, and then you're turning a bunch of cats sideways and swinging. That could be, it could be pretty nice. So synergistically, I would say a B. On its own, you're probably closer to like a C plus, B minus. Sarah Angel. Well, on its own, it's really expensive. Like if you don't have any cats, I take that back. If you don't have any cats, it's like a solid C. If you do have cats, it could be upwards of a B or B plus. Sarah Angel. So we're saying it's synergistic, like B plus. Sarah Angel is a 3 colorless, 2 white creature angel, 4/4. So it's a 5 CMC 4/4 with flying and vigilance. Basically, the flying and the vigilance make up for the fact that it's a 5 CMC. So I would say it's like a C by itself. It's a decent body to get in the air. Guarded Air, 5 colorless, 1 white creature human noble 1/1. All right, lifelink. Damage dealt by this creature also causes you to gain that much life. When this creature enters, create 2 3/3 night creature tokens. So this really is a 7/7 for 6. Plus you get 2 additional bodies. Yeah, this is a solid B minus, I would say. The additional bodies gives you that go wide. It has lifelink. It's pretty weak by itself, but even when it dies, you're still left with 2 3/3s that are knights, so they can also work with any knight synergies that you might have going on. So yeah, B minus to C plus. And that was the last of our uncommon. We are cruising. So up next, we have Authority of the Councils. So Authority of the Councils is our first rare card at 1 white. It's an enchantment. Creatures your opponents control enter tapped. Whenever a creature an opponent controls enters, you gain 1 life. So it's interesting. Like if you're in a life gain deck, yeah, you want it. Just because whenever a creature an opponent controls enters, you gain a life. So they're helping you gain life. You probably have other ways to gain life. And then creatures your opponents control enter tapped. That's nice. So if it's a flash creature, it can't attack, or if it's a haste creature, so it's good counterplay. And it's cheap enough. Like if there's not a better choice and you're in a life gain deck, I would definitely select this. If you're not in a life gain deck, I wouldn't touch it really. I wouldn't see a reason to grab this. So I would put it at like a C minus. If you're not in a life gain deck. If you're in a life gain deck, maybe like a C plus. Sky Knight Squire, 1 colorless, 1 white creature cat scout, 1/1. Whenever another creature you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. As long as this creature has 3 or more 1/1 counters on it, it has flying and is a knight in addition to its other types. So this is really interesting. No cap. It's not a once per turn. It's whenever a creature you control enters. So if you have a card like that rabbit card that comes in, creates a bunch of rabbits, it's going to get a bunch of 1/1 counters pretty quickly. I would definitely say synergistically like a B plus. If you have a go wide strategy, like multiple creatures per turn strategy, and then this is cheap enough, get it down early. And then you could play this and then play like 1 or 2 other spells that might generate 1 or 2 other creatures. And then all of a sudden, this thing is nice and toasty up there and flying as well as being a knight. So I would definitely put this in the B plus territory synergistically. On its own, it's probably still like a B minus because even if you're slow playing creatures and they don't remove it and it's just sitting there and you're not attacking with it, like it can get big pretty quickly. Next up is Giada. Font of Hope is 1 colorless, 1 white, legendary creature angel. It's a 2/2 for 2, which is always great. Now it already has flying vigilance. All right, we're putting it up there, C plus B minus just on those words alone. Each other angel you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each angel you already control. And then you can tap it, add 1 white mana, and spend this mana only to cast angel spells. So synergistically, this card's amazing. Easy B plus, maybe A minus if you're going for like an angel deck. On its own, I would still say it's a B minus. So if you're, oh, and it's a mana dork, probably just a B on its own. So I say synergistically, probably like that A minus territory. But just because 2/2 for 2, flying and vigilance, and then you can, it's a mana dork as well. So yeah, it's solidly a B minus, maybe B on its own. And then we have synergistically, it can get really crazy. Crystal Barricade, 1 colorless, 1 white, artifact creature wall. It's an 0/4 defender. You have hexproof. Perfect. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. So this will probably see constructed play in any white deck. I think red aggro is still going to be really solid, and I think a lot of people, including myself, are going to see if we can make a red burn deck work again. And the ability to just give yourself hexproof, as well as all of your creatures. And yeah, I can't like ping them out. I can't, just get rid of them unless they take combat damage. Prevent all non-combat damage. Yeah. So this is pretty solid. I would definitely put that up there as like a B in draft. And then you could see in constructed, this being played in constructed for sure. Celestial Armor, 2 colorless, 1 white, artifact equipment, has flash, and when this equipment enters, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has flying. So artifact equipment's really nice. Creature dies, it stays on the battlefield. Re-equip cost is kind of high, but the fact that you can flash this in for 2 colorless, 1 white, give something indestructible and hexproof, and has +2/+0, and has flying. It's a really solid combat trick. I would definitely snag it. We're looking at B plus territory. Easy. And then we've all seen this card. This tends to be one of the flagship cards that are out there right now. Arabo, the First Fang, 2 colorless, 1 white, legendary creature cat avatar, 2/2. Other cats you control get +1/+1 whenever Arabo or another token, non-token cat you control enters. Create a 1/1 cat creature token. So synergistically, if you get this with cats, thing's amazing. B plus, right? So if you have a strong cat approach. If it's not with cats, it's a 2/2 for 3. It's like, if you're not going cats, this is like a C minus. like if you are going cats, easy B, right? B plus territory. Raise the Past. So synergistically, BP plus on its own, like a C minus. Raise the Past. 2 colorless, 2 white, sorcery. Return all creature cards with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Nice. So 4 CMC, return all value 2 or less. So if you have a nice like go wide strategy, like aggro deck, then you could see this in like a white red resurrect, maybe even in like a white black resurrect if you have a bunch of cheap white and black spells. So again, synergistically, this would be something that's really nice. If you don't have good synergy with this, I would avoid this. So I would look at your creature cards with value 2 or less, and then see if this has any value. It is kind of expensive. It would be more of that mid to late game use to try to rebuild your board after a board wipe, or maybe you grind it out of your first few rounds. They kept pinging out your creatures, and then you can bring them all back. So I would say probably like a C plus. Synergistically, you could see it a little bit higher. Just on its own, it's I would say like a C or C plus. Exemplar of the Light, 2 colorless, 2 white, creature angel, 3/3. So it's a 4 CMC for 3/3. All right. We got flying. Okay, we'll give it maybe like a C plus. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Whenever you put one or more 1/1 counters on this creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So if you're in a life gain deck, so synergistically, this card is like a B plus, B plus. All right. On its own, it's like a C plus, maybe a B minus, because you need to get the life gain or some other way to put 1/1 counters onto this card. So if you don't have life gain and don't have an ability to put counters on this, that's when this thing falls behind and it is in that C plus B minus territory. If you do have a way to do one of those two things, easy B plus B or B plus. There you go. Day of Judgment, 2 colorless, 2 white sorcery, destroy all creatures. Solid. B plus. We like it. Ajani, Caller of the Pride, 1 colorless, 2 white. Legendary Planeswalker, Ajani. So it comes in with 4 loyalty counters. If you +1 it, it's put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. You can -3 it. Target creature gains flying and double strike until end of turn. And then you can -8 it. Create X 2/2 white cat creature tokens where X is your life total. That's insane. So if you play this with like Innkeeper's Talent, where it's going to come in and double its loyalty counters right away, and then you -8 it and you have 20 health, you're going to have 22 white cat creature tokens. In draft, I think it's going to be a lot harder to get the -8. You're really going to kind of bring this in, give something flying and double strike, get some damage in. So in draft, I would still say it's strong, like a B. It's not bad. You just need synergistically ways to get that 4 to 8 as quick as you can, because then that's an insane -8 ability. But the cost is good. Putting 1/1 counters on any creature, not just cats, is good. So I guess if you can build a little bit of a board state, something to protect the Ajani, then this could definitely see the potential of getting the ultimate ability there. Next up is Valkyrie's Call. 3 colorless, 2 white. It's an enchantment. Whenever a non-token, non-angel creature you control dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. It has flying and is an angel in addition to its other types. Solid enchantment. It's a bit expensive. 5 CMC. Throw this down, and then anytime anything dies on your board, it comes back, and then it's an angel with a 1/1 counter on it. And then if it dies again, this effect doesn't work on it again. So you really want this with a non-angel deck. Or maybe you do want it with an angel deck. So there's, if you're really after the resurrection, you would do it in a non-angel deck. If you are in an angel deck, you could, and you have non-angels in there, this is a way to make those non-angels angels, and then you have a bunch of angel synergy, right? So that's kind of the goal there, is either make all of your stuff an angel or just get all your stuff back. So a solid card, a bit expensive, but if you're in sort of a resurrection or an angel deck and struggling to get angels, this could be as high as like a B or B plus. On its own, I would probably say like a B minus to C plus territory. Herald of Eternal Dawn, 4 colorless, 3 white, creature angel, has flash, so it's a 7 CMC with flash, 6/6 flying. You can't lose the game, and your opponent can't win the game. I mean, there are destroy target creature cards, so it's really expensive. It's funny. It's a 6/6 with flying and flash. So you could potentially flash this in and save yourself, but 7 CMC is huge. If this is anything like Duskmourn, there's good chance you're going to get to 7 lands on the board pretty regularly. So it's definitely playable, but I think it's a bit more of a trap than you would think it is. So on its own, probably like a B minus B. If you're trying to do something crazy with it, like bring it back out of the graveyard or graveyard recursion, so like get it into the graveyard and bring it out for cheap, or something like that, it could be higher. But It's just so expensive. And if you're using your land correctly, it's hard to always just have 7-up. So yeah, I'm in a weird place with this card. I think it's funny. I can't win the game or lose the game. And that, my friends, will do it for our review of white. So we covered everything from common to uncommon to rare to mythic in the booster packs, the ones that you will see for the draft. So if you go to your local draft, you go to your sealed event, these are the cards that you're going to see in those packs. And stay tuned, because this is the first of all the colors. We're going to cover all the colors. We're going to do white, we're going to do blue, black, green, red, colorless, multicolored, and then we'll even take a look at the new lands. So until next time, we'll catch you at the table.